Hey guys, Shane here from Fugatech 3D Printing, and today we're going to work on the Folgertech FT-5 by adding a Titan extruder with a Volcano nozzle. Hey guys, welcome back. So we're going to work on the FT-5 today, and one of the first things we need to do is get this old extruder set up off of it. So we're going to get our snips, undo some of this, and take it apart. So I have a new thermistor, so I'm not really too worried about saving this one because I've had issues with it. So we're going to snip this one off here. We're going to take off the power connection here for the hot end. This is going to be replaced. And we'll disconnect the power. We're going to be giving this a new connector. We're going to use DuPont connectors for the fan mount. Right, next we're going to take off the fan, and with the fan is going to come the hot end, the aluminum block, everything that's underneath that's not directly attached. So there that is there. So this is a lot of the old. We're going to be getting rid of a lot of this and adding something nice and new in. Take off the rest of the old parts here. That comes off. This all comes apart. Try to keep this together just in the future in case I ever need to or want to put it back on. You always want to keep stuff, so it's too big. None of these screws are the same size, so you have to keep switching parts here. So this comes off, and then we need to take off this knobbled bit there, which I think this is too big for. We get one size down. There's that. So now we have a clean stepper motor that can accept our new extruder setup. Alright, so here's our Volcano bits. And is that the V6 or is this? So we're going to be using this part first, and then we're going to be adding on this heater onto the V6. And we have the Titan extruder here. So I got my laptop set up with the instructions now. So the very first thing is to add the extruder body to the stepper motor, which is this here. So this is the extruder body, and this takes M3 by 8 millimeters or M3 by 12s to screw the body in place. So let's find those in the kit. Actually, I'm forgetting. In order to do this, alright, so in order to do what I want to do is I'm also mounting a BLTouch onto this. So I had to print my own BLTouch holder. So I did this on the G-Tech, and there's I'll put a link down in the video description for this model. It's not the best in the world, but it works. So that's going to go underneath this, and all those holes will line up just like so. It's kind of hard to tell in this, but they all line up now. Now we can put our screws in through all of it. Try and line these up again here. That first one tighten down on there, all the rest have to line up. Let's get the longer screws and get those installed now. So we've got the little gear on here, and that needs to be screwed onto the shaft. Just line that up. It's gonna be fun trying to get this in here. Well, it says loosely for now, so it's on there loosely. Slide the steel. We're gonna have to use the wheel one to line it up. Figured out our position on that, so now we're just gonna tighten this down. Close to there as I can get it. That's the best I can do at this point. Get the wheel back on here. Turn turns just like so. Nice and easy. Well, not too easy because obviously the motor's not energized, but you know, you get what I mean. So we're doing the 1.75 millimeter direct, which means we're going to be using this white one. So these little assists on here that go on, and one, see the white is small and the black is much larger, so this is for the 3 millimeter. We're going to be using the white one. Here's the hot end, and here's this piece here. So we're going to need, looks like 16 millimeters for this PTFE tube. So let's get I have my little ghetto calipers to use for this. Okay, so you get your heat break here. We're going to get the throat, and this just screws in all the way like so till it's nice and tight up in there. So now that's in there, we're going to get our PTFE tubing and just slide it in all the way till it stops. So there's our PTFE tubing. Now you're going to get out, again I'm using my little ghetto calipers, and you're going to measure 16 millimeters. So that would be right to there for me. And we're going to cut that as close as we can. So let's do that now. Alright, so apparently my camera decided it was going to stop filming, so open this up. So right now we've got the heat break here installed. We've got the wheel installed. This is the idler and the spring that keeps tension on the idler, which keeps the tension of the filament against the nozzle gear here, so that it pulls the filament down and pushes it out the hot end. So now we're going to add in our lid here, and they have us 20 millimeter and 35 millimeter screws. We're going to try 30 first and see if these are too long, which I think they might be. I guess maybe these are different depths on the corners, you know. Maybe somebody out there knows better than me, probably. Okay, that's too tight. Still too tight. I don't know if it's supposed to be that tight, but god darn. That is super tight. Man. Alright, so now we have all those on there. It is still pretty tight though. Okay, so there's that. That's nice and tight on there now. This is still pretty doggone hard to move up. I thought it was supposed to be easier than that. It would be easier once the motor's energized, but I mean, we'll see what happens. We're saying to use PTFE tubing in the top of the Titan to ensure that it doesn't come out. I do have a long piece of PTFE tubing that we can push into. Okay, so we have everything installed. Now we're going to work on the Volcano nozzle. So we have the heater block here. We have a 0.4 nozzle. On the sides they have dots on how, so 4 dots means it's a 0.4 millimeter nozzle, and so that's what we need. This little chip cutout part is going to go to the top. So first thing you have to do is screw in your nozzle up into the heater block. looks like they put it all the way in, take it out just a little bit, maybe a turn or two. There's just a little bit of separation there. And now we're going to screw this onto the throat. So now we can see that it's a little off, so we're just going to back this off. Get this lined up the way I want it. I want everything to be over here, going out of this side, because over here I want it to be flush, because this is going to be against the X-axis limit switch, and I prefer nothing to be in the way. Now we have to tighten the nozzle in there, and they're not doing it with heat. We're going to tighten up a little later with the heater block once it's heated up, but I purchased their little wrench here because I figured this would be really nice to have, and that fits right onto these. So I need to get a pair of pliers first. So you're going to take your pliers, hold on to the heater block, and we're going to put this on here. Make sure this stays square, and just give it a good nice little twist. Don't want to over tighten it, just give it a good little twist so that it is on there tight as it can be. So the new E3Ds use this cartridge style thermistor. I believe they call it the cartridge style. And yeah, cartridge style thermistor. So this slides in to the heat block, but it looks like we're going to need to do this beforehand. So let's we're going to loosen this up and put this in and then tighten it back up. So let's do that. And we also need to get the screws. There's a little set screws in here to hold this sucker in. So the thermistor cartridge pushes right in. It's a little bit tight to get in there, so you kind of just have to muscle it in gently. But once it's in there good. And there's a screw that goes right there in the side. So it looks like a little M3 screw, and this just tightens down on there so that doesn't slide out. Not too terribly tight. I'm just doing it finger tight for now, and that's what holds that in there. And then this comes up and out. So there's that part. I kind of probably loop it around so that it doesn't. Like I said, I want to keep the right side of this empty if I can, but I might be able to just keep it nice and close. We'll see. But all right, so there's the thermistor in. Here's the heater core, which just slides down into here. And we'll give the leads a nice bend. And now there are two set screws that go into here in order to hold that in. They're not full set screws, they're actual screws. So just lock those down. Here we have all that put together. Just slide this up in and tighten it back up. So there that is, nice and tight in there. We have our little fan there. Here's our two connections. So this one might have to come up here like so, but the heater is just going to go back behind here, behind the BLTouch. And I'll snip this and we'll use our JST connector here. I'm sorry, the XT60. I'll put XT60 connector on this and hook that together, and we'll be squared away on that. Okay, so now that we have that installed, we're going to finish this up. We're going to get the fan installed and hopefully get this tuned so we can start printing here soon. Here's our wee little fan, and that's going to go on here. How I want to attach this, I guess. Just like this here, so it can go up behind there, like so. Need to get a screwdriver first. And there's our wee little fan installed. And that is all of that for now. Okay, so everything's a little different now. I did a lot of wiring on this during the break and printed out some pieces. So you see that the E3D Volcano is installed along with the Titan and the Titan extruder. So, and I also added in the Bowden setup, the Bowden tube setup, I should say. This is just so the filament always stays away from the cable chain. It stays at an even length, and it's really easy with this. And I'll soup around the back here a little bit, and I've also printed out a new cooling fan setup, which I'm excited about. I hope it works out well. But this part now we're going to do is the BLTouch. So here it is, packaged from Korea. And there's a little sticker here. There's some hardware down in here. See the back of the circuit board, cables. So let's get this opened up. Let me start by saying this is not going to be a tutorial because I am not familiar with, I mean, this whole video is not a tutorial. It's just my experience installing all of this equipment. I am not the authority to be doing a tutorial on this type of thing. So it's just going to be my installation of the E3D Titan, E3D V6 with the Volcano nozzle and the BLTouch. So let's pop this out. And our little hardware here. So here's the BLTouch. It's pretty small. There's the pin that is going to be touching the bed, and that's going to give us our, our bed level. And then here in the bag, there's all kinds of stuff in here. There's some DuPont connectors, some male-to-male connectors, some resistors, it looks like pins for DuPont connectors, which is really nice. So if you have a crimper, they give you everything you need, and that's pretty fantastic. Now, I will say, if you do want to see a tutorial on how to do this, there's a guy, Joe, in the Folgertech forums, who has done an excellent two-part videos on this, and I will link both of them up above so that you guys can watch that, and then you can see how I do. See, we have everything here. This is going to be the mount for it here, and all we have to do is thread our cables up through the slit, which is going to be a little bit tight because I don't think it came out very well. Just get this threaded up in there, or I can always take the connectors off if I have to, but it's supposed to be wide enough to get these to fit in. Oh, there we go. So you got to do the 3-pin first, otherwise it won't fit because it is super tight to get up in there. Man, actually, it doesn't want to go in at all. Okay, now that we have the connector off, we can slide this up into here. Slide up the 2-pin, which should fit, I think. There we go. Okay, that fits. So let's put this one back on. Okay, so there are our cables up in there, and it mounts in just like this. So let's get the hardware and get it mounted. Okay, so here we go. It's wired in now. And in order to do this, we need cables, obviously. So I picked up on Amazon a 10-strand, so you can see it down here, a 10-strand ribbon cable. So we only actually need 5 for this project, but I wanted to have the other 5 just in case. It doesn't hurt to have some extra cables around in here. So we'll end up just tucking them back here into the cable chain, the other 5, but we're just going to separate 5 and we'll use them for this. Here's our 5 cables now. I split them into 2 groups, 3 and 2. So that we can just pop them right into here. So we're going to go ahead and crimp these off. I'll do it off camera. We're going to crimp these off and put on the DuPont connectors so that we can get everything hooked up here. Cables are crimped. The gauge on these is tiny, so it took me a good 15 minutes to get these crimped. I'm not the world's best cable maker, but hey, we got it done. So now we can go ahead and connect up 3-pin. Oops, this one here's a little bit loose, seems like. Just gotta hold this down here. Okay, Okay, 3 pins in and the 2 pin. Okay, so now we're gonna spin around the back and hook it up to the board. Okay, here we are. We're in the back of the printer now. I'm going to show you how this hooks up. So I was a bit confused on how it hooked up, and I actually did it wrong and couldn't figure out how to step away for the day, and came back to it and somebody had posted the actual picture. I was going off of an older board that I had found pictures to. There was tons for that, but nothing for this MKS 1.4 board. So we have 2 sets of connections. There's the 3 wires here, my brown, orange, and red, which goes to brown, orange, red on the BLTouch. And then the green and yellow here goes to the black and white. So this basically up here is the servo connections. So it goes on the very far right of that one, and I'll post down in the description the Dropbox link for the actual picture of this board. It's just upside down, which kind of makes sense because this is upside down. So here's the 3 pins here. It goes into the first connection up on here, and then the green and yellow, for which actually it's going to be the black and white up there, goes on to where this is. You see here, this is where the ZN stop goes into, and the white cable goes on top. So you're wiring this up, white cable on top, black cable in the middle. The bottom pin, which is red, is empty. So if you're looking at the old end stop, it goes blue, black, red. So you're gonna go white, black is what the new cables are. And once you have that connected, you then need to load in your firmware that has the BLTouch enabled. And there are some settings you have to do, and some there's a lot of tweaking to do. It took me about 2 days to get this working properly. I had to walk away from it again whenever I had to do the Z offset because I could not get it. Spent like 3 hours one night working on it and gave up. So I decided to let it sit. Came back this morning, got it figured out. It's homing beautifully now. It's printing fantastic, and I could not be happier now, but it was not without its trials. So let's take a look at the front and we'll do a little review. Okay, so I hope you guys liked the video. I hope you guys learned a lot and could see what I had to go through to get this working, and it took me a total of almost 4 days to get this running. It's now Sunday. I started this project, I think it was Wednesday night, and that just went to a whole huge just snowball effect of things that I was not intending on encountering, and some extra things I did. I ended up doing a blower for the cooling fan in the back as well, and I ended up doing some lights. Again, that's going to be another video for another time, but this one again is just for the E3D setup with the V6, the Titan, and the BLTouch. I'm going to put all the links down below of things that I use, where I got information from, and whatever else I can supply. I'm going to put a link up top for Joe's tutorials on installing the BLTouch. They're pretty good. He explains a lot, which helped me a lot because I didn't know a lot of the G code, I shouldn't say the G code, the commands, the G commands and the M commands in order to get everything working. And that really helped me out a lot because I had never done it before. So his goes through everything pretty well. You might have a few questions, but hopefully I can answer all of those for you. So hey, give this video a like, please subscribe to my channel. I have a lot more videos coming up, and every subscription helps. When we get to 100 subscribers, I'm gonna do a pretty epic giveaway. I'm gonna print something big and give it out. So until next time, happy printing.